Last week, I left you on a bit of a cliffhanger, but last week was just the beginning. Just as the family let their guard down, the spirits within attempted to take a life. Beth became what can only be described as possessed. Entities, whatever they were trying to take Mike.
So how can you see this and be like, it's not the house's fault. The house is lovely and nice. I will go back there just without my kids.
This is the Hinsdale House, Part 2.
This is Two Girls, One Ghost.
Two girls, one ghost. And I'm for sure going to have to take my teeth out.
For you audio listeners out there, we are in costume again.
We are in costume. Oh my gosh.
Because it's that much closer to Halloween. Are you okay? What's happening to your strings or your hair?
Well, my lady part or my male part was showing, so I had to pull down my...
Oh my gosh.
Well, not really. I'm wearing like
Schmeagle.
a onesie. But yes, we are your ghostesses. Today, your hosts are Schmeagle and Art the Clown.
Yeah.
And I am going to take my teeth out.
Not needed.
As contrary to this statement is going to be, I feel like I'm back in high school because I used to wear blue contacts.
You did?
Yeah.
You wore blue contacts in high school?
Yeah, because I was insecure. No, but
Wow. I really learned something new about you all the time.
Yeah, I wore blue contacts. Like literally the first day of high school, I wore blue contacts.
So people thought your eyes were blue and then you just never stopped? Or did you switch it up?
No, I stopped eventually.
What was it like when you stopped? What did people say? Were they shocked?
Well, people knew that they weren't real. Like when they were like, oh my God, your eyes. I was like, they're contacts. I didn't pretend.
Oh.
Like I did unless you...
You didn't like crimp your hair and be like, no, my hair is just normally like this.
I probably did do that. Like I braided my hair and then I like let it out. And I was like, yeah, no, this is my hair natural.
Yeah, this is natural.
But yes, we are here to share stories about our precious ghosts. Is this fun for you? Because it's fun for me.
Yeah. I just love the like 4 strands of hair coming out of your head.
I did this for you. You made a comment the other day about how you felt like you were Gollum because of the way your hair was growing back. And I kind of chuckled to myself. I was like, hee hee hee.
You know what's funny is we have both set each other's costumes in every single setting, basically.
When did I say Art? Well, that I was in love with him after Horror Nights?
Yes, but I had already had this picked out. So you were talking about Art, and then I was going to dress as Ashby as the Lorax, and you were like, you pulled up a bunch of like transitions for us to try to make social media content, but it was all Ashby's Lorax videos.
That's hilarious.
I think I had like guessed Carrie for you.
Yeah, you did. Because I said that I was going to have a lot of blood.
Yeah. Somehow we have like kind of figured each other's out or just like name dropped each other's costumes.
I did not guess yours at all.
Art?
You look great.
Thanks. I think like somehow you knew because you have just said all of the names of my costumes. Minus Edgar Allan Poe.
Poe is still hot to me.
Yeah. Poe was kind of crazy because you said that and then I'm looking back at the video and I'm like, I look exactly like my Uncle Mikey, who's my dad's twin. So I was like, oh God. I looked like it was his haircut. It was his mustache.
Wait, he has a mustache like that and everything?
Yeah, I'll have to show you a picture of my Uncle Mike.
Does he look like he's from the Victorian era and a little ill?
Oh, yeah, he's from northern New Hampshire, so.
Same.
It's a little bit the same.
A little bit the same. Well, we are here to talk about ghost stories. Oh, sorry, I have to talk about my abs real quick.
You didn't have to draw them on. They're already there.
Yeah, no, I didn't have to.
Yeah, that's Gollum just natural. Sabrina's actually naked.
I'm basically naked. Anyway, okay, last week, I left you on a bit of a cliffhanger, and we talked about a place oh so scary, but last week was just the beginning. This is the ramp-up period we're about to get in. This is the Hinsdale House, Part 2. And last week, we introduced the story of the Hinsdale House and the Dandy family, Clara, Phil, and their 4 children, Mike, Laura, Beth, and Mary, who thought they were moving into a countryside dream home, but instead they walked into a nightmare. From the moment they arrived, the house turned on them. Infestations of bees, pets dying, countless car accidents and malfunctions. What began as an ominous cloud lurking outside of the home, chanting by the hanging tree, spectral beings by the pond, a haunted doll, apparitions beckoning from outside the windows, turned into a thick and heavy darkness inside of the home that even attempted to possess the children. Every blessing failed. Every attempt at peace only stirred the house further awake. Psychics whispered of mass murder buried beneath their land, of spirits clawing to be heard. And on October 21st, 1973, the house itself finally tried to kill. The story of the Hinsdale House is far from over. So this is part 2. We highly recommend, if you haven't yet, go listen to part 1. But we also recommend setting intentions and perhaps not listening in the car.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
No one listens to us, though. You say that, we say that.
And someone's like, turn volume up as they're driving.
I listened to the car and then I got in a horrible car accident and 70 birds tried to plug my eyes out when I tried to get out of the car. Great, thanks.
I don't know. Maybe just listen to us. Like, not just our podcast, but listen to our warning advice.
Right, yeah. And no other podcast out there is going to tell you either not to listen or not to listen in certain settings. People want your listenership.
Right.
But we, more than that, want you to be alive.
We want to protect you, keep
Yes.
you alive so that you can keep listening in the safety of your own home.
Yeah.
We'd rather you listen alive than dead.
Yeah, take a few steps to make sure that happens.
Also, we did forget, or I will say, I forgot the haunted object for today's episode. So we are the haunted objects.
Yes. Which is okay, because honestly, I feel like, I don't know that I was expecting a show from the haunted objects, but I was expecting to be less bullied, personally.
Well, I will say, I feel like of the objects we used in the last couple of episodes, I feel like those were the most active ones, and we found out who didn't like you.
Right. So we can move on.
So, as I shared last week, after the psychic Alex came to the home, the Dandies were surprised that the house was actually pretty quiet for almost a month. And it was for the first time in a long time. And they were like, we can finally breathe. But that peace provided a false sense of hope. And just as the family let their guard down, the spirits within attempted to take a life. It's October 21st, 1973, and Clara and Phil are startled by a very heavy knock on the door. They open the door to find a state trooper standing there, solemn. He informs them that their son Mike had been in a terrible car accident and was now unconscious in a hospital nearby.
Oh my gosh.
Terrified and in shock, Clara and Phil jump in the car and head to the hospital. And as they're heading down their driveway, they see Mike's car, meaning that he got in an accident right at the edge of the property. So he was so close to home.
Oh, I hate that, though. I will say statistically, most accidents happen within a mile of your home.
That's true.
But in this case, there is a poltergeist that's been actively trying to kill this family for a long time.
Well, this is the first time it actually tries to kill them.
Maybe
someone.
so blatantly.
Yeah, sure. But okay, so the car is leaning against a tree, literally at the edge of a 30-foot drop. So he could have fallen down a 30-foot drop. Mike was transferred to a hospital in Buffalo, and for days, they really weren't sure if he would make it. Fortunately, they were able to stop internal bleeding, and slowly Mike regained consciousness. And when he did, the story he had to share about his accident was very intriguing and scary. He told police and his family that someone was in the car with him, which the police had already kind of assumed because in the car, and they had examined the crime scene basically, there was a head imprint on the passenger side door window. And Mike,
Ew.
And so the police.
Oh my gosh, I can't even picture that. Just a ghost sitting in the car getting in an accident and their head smacking the window, but
or were they looking in through the window?
Oh.
And caused the accident.
Yeah.
But so police,
because that's their sick pleasure is watching someone.
It's so scary.
Be rocked in a car accident.
So police had prior to Mike regaining consciousness had actually looked to see if someone had gotten out of the car and stumbled off. But Clara knew what someone meant. It was not a living, breathing human someone. It was a ghost. Mike spent 2 weeks recovering in the hospital, and Phil and Clara are exhausted. They're taking shifts, so Phil will be at home with the other kids, and Clara will be at the hospital with Mike. And it is during one of these shifts where Phil is at home with the kids that he experiences something so unusual, and this is what makes me believe there are aliens involved with this house.
What? This is such a twist. I mean, I guess
well,
it's
we
not
talked about the
huge,
UFO in part 1
and had the comparison to the Conjuring house. But still, I feel it's always a twist in my mind when there's such heavy poltergeist activity and then there's aliens, because I feel it's just how much more do you need?
Or are they the same? So Phil's trying to sleep on the couch when all of a sudden he sees 5 small men come out of a door that led to the closet. And they seem to be wearing Puritan-style clothing. But what really terrified him is what they said. These 5 men are standing there, and it's almost like they're not even looking at Phil. But they're standing there and discussing. They're like, should we wait? Or do we take him now?
I hate that.
Phil is paralyzed with fear until they simply just turn and leave through the closet door that they came in through. He's now able to move, and he has this sinking feeling that they weren't talking about Phil, that they were talking about Mike, that these entities, whatever they were trying to take Mike, and they were deciding whether or not to like fully kill him.
But it's also kind of like interesting that amongst their group that there's not a unanimous, like there's still people or like beings that are like, let's do it. And others that are like, well, let's
don't know.
Wait.
It's so confusing. And sadly, Clara's in the hospital with Mike. And I guess another 16-year-old boy came in with like a really bad accident. And after Phil had this encounter, while Mike survived, this other kid died. Like literally the timing of it it's very, very sad.
Oh, I hate this.
But so Mike did live, and he was able to return home on November 3rd. But that week, when a couple of friends came to visit Mike, again, they're literally driving up the driveway towards the house. One of their friends goes into an uncontrollable skid in the exact same spot where Mike had his accident.
And it's not like people were having accidents here all the time.
No. I mean,
there's nothing new with the road.
Nope. There's a lot of car issues, but up until Mike's accident, there haven't been any like real danger physically in cars.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of weeks later, when Mike's friend, who's also named Mike, came to visit, something very strange happened. Child Mike Dandy, calls Clara downstairs because Mike N is acting really strangely. Mike N is standing, pounding on the door, the same door that those 5 men had come in and out of. And he's in like this trance, pounding on that door and saying, stop talking about me. Stop talking about me. I know you're talking about me. Everyone thought it was funny, but Clara didn't, because she knew about Phil's experience. She knew about those entities coming out of that closet talking about someone.
Mm-hmm.
So someone's like now in the house experiencing that while no one else is experiencing it around them. And he's
Which
in
is
a
so
trance.
crazy to like have witnesses too of it.
Yeah.
That's always the thing that makes me scared in these stories, because I feel like so much of the tactics or like the initial move of a poltergeist is to isolate someone. But to be so strong and so brazen that you can just do it in front of others and be like, I still have the upper hand, even if they know everything that I'm doing.
It is very unsettling.
Yeah.
So then on the evening of November 24th, 1973, there is a second attempt to kill someone connected to the Dandy family. So as context, Beth had been dating a guy named Jeff for a very, very long time. But she broke up with him on November 11th. And Jeff obviously was like heartbroken, and he didn't want to break up with her, and he wanted to be with her forever. So on November 24th, when he got a new car, and he was like, I'm going to go drive this over and show Beth. And he's super excited. He like thinks she's going to love my car and get back with me. He got there November 24th. He shows off his new late model VW, and he goes home. But the next morning, the Dandys receive a phone call from Jeff's parents. On Jeff's drive home from the Dandy house, from the Hinsdale house, he had a really, really bad car accident. He skid off a bridge, hit a tree, and was thrown from the car. Doctors found multiple skull fractures and were very concerned he wasn't going to make it. Fortunately, he did survive, and a couple weeks later, when the family visit him at home, Jeff confided in Clara that just before the accident, the windshield became covered by what he could only describe as like balloons, but every single one of them had a face. So like a bunch of faces swarming.
Yeah, just like mini faces.
So 2 attempted murders.
Oh, wow.
But the house was not done. So last week I talked about how when Laura left the house, the entities clearly wanted to find another vessel because Laura was briefly possessed, accusing people of things, which we don't know whether or not they happened, but she started speaking differently. She started saying that she thought she was going to die young and it didn't matter. The spirits wanted another vessel. And that is when they started knocking on Beth's window, literally. And this starts getting worse and worse. These voices at her window were returning every single night. And at first she couldn't tell what they were saying. She just could tell they were talking to her, but she didn't know what they were saying. But now they're saying her name. There's a man and a woman nightly standing outside of her window saying her name. And then Beth became what can only be described as possessed. It's December 8th, 1973. Mike and some of his friends were sleeping in the living room when all of a sudden, Beth, who had been sleeping in her own room, walks out of her room, glassy-eyed and in a trance. She doesn't acknowledge them. She walks straight into the kitchen and sits on the floor. Just sits there. Mike's like, okay, Beth's sleepwalking. So he like lightly.
Why would you think that after everything that's going on?
Because she's not doing anything other than sitting there,
Yeah.
you know?
And I'm sure everyone's sleep deprived anyway from
Right.
just like the horrors that persist.
So he gently brings her back to her bedroom. And a few minutes later, she walks back out, again, still glassy-eyed and in this trance. But this time, as she walks past everyone that's in the living room, she kicks every single one of them, kicks them. And then she sits on the couch. She then reaches her hands out as if she's holding something. And she's like admiring it and cooing. And she's like, it's mine. It's all mine. Mama gave it to me. Isn't it pretty? My precious.
This is very Gollum-like behavior right here.
It's so pretty.
Just like kicking people and being like,
Mine. But she's saying this in a voice that's unlike her own. She then gets up and she moves to the bathroom and begins a motion that the boys can only describe as like kneading bread. And the bathroom did used to be the pantry in the home. So she's like kneading bread. Either way, odd. Then she starts going out the back door, which is when Mike is like, okay, she cannot go outside. If she is sleepwalking, like, let's keep her inside. And as they try to prevent her from going outside, she starts like fighting them, like determined to go outside. They were able to bring her back into the living room where they sat her down on the cot. And when they sat her down on this cot, this is a cot that they have used for years and years and years. Boys were sitting on it moments before. She just simply sits down on the cot and this thing, metal snaps, like breaks in half. Which they're
also,
like,
why did they
how?
want to? Oh, I mean, I guess they thought that she was sleepwalking a little bit, but I'm like, why bring her back inside? Like, perhaps being outside will disconnect her from whatever is going on.
No, I feel like you definitely don't want someone sleepwalking outside.
But follow her. That's what I was thinking.
No, I think they want to like bring her in and
breather.
break her out of this trance.
Okay. Back to the haunted house we go.
At this point, Mike is now terrified and he goes to grab his mom and dad, Phil and Clara. So they all race down. They still find Beth in a daze. And what stands out to Clara is that Beth's eyes that are always brown, now they're blue, just like me.
This is the origin story of Smeagol.
Yep. So the next morning after everything, Beth wakes up. Her eyes are brown again. She's totally normal. She has no recollection of anything that happened. And so Clara's like, we need to take you to the doctor. Like that was really, really weird.
Yeah.
Do you want to know what the doctor told her to do?
Sleep.
Take antacid.
Okay.
Are you possessed? Take Tums.
Yeah. Keep your eyes from turning different colors.
Right.
How is that the solution for literally any of these symptoms?
It's not. Whatever is impacting Beth, it is clearly not acid reflux, and no doctor could have actually prescribed a remedy. So unfortunately, whatever this is, it fully had a grasp on Beth now, and by December 18th, 1973, and this is content warning for attempt at taking their own life, Beth supposedly tries to take her own life twice while in school. Again, she's in a daze. She tries to jump out the window in a bathroom, but someone stopped her. She then tried to strangle herself in the chorus room. And she's in a trance. Like, so every time someone stops her, she like comes out of it, she has no idea what's happening. And this is coming.
She has no recollection.
No
of it.
recollection.
It's not like, oh my God, you saved me. It's just like, where am I?
Yeah.
What happened?
So this is becoming more and more common and more terrifying. One night, her eyes yet again turn blue, and she starts staring at the family members with all of these like horrifying, creepy, uneasy smiles. Like just in a weird trance. Ow, this hurts. I'm going to take my right ear off. Sorry. You can still see my left
I
one.
hate that it's just sitting there on the table.
This is our haunted object for the episode. With my mouth. Me and my teeth. Okay.
My shiny teeth and me.
She's staring at everyone in the family with this like creepy, uneasy smile. And the only thing that worked to snap her out of these trances was breaking a capsule of ammonia under her nose. So like smelling salts, basically. Then came New Year's Eve and the kids asked to throw a party at the house. And so they spent the whole day decorating. But unfortunately, in preparation, Beth hurt her back. So Clara gave her a muscle relaxant and told her to go lay down on the couch with a heating pad.
Every pill except for what's needed, right?
Well, she hurt her back.
Yeah.
That was appropriate. Makes sense. She went.
I guess. But it's like, do you go straight to muscle relaxers like the second you hurt your back? Oh, you know, I'm not one to judge. I barely have an Advil when I have an excruciating headache. I probably should medicate myself more.
So Beth goes to lay on the couch and she has the heating pad with her. But something took over Beth in that moment. It is creepier without your sunglasses.
I did a horrible job with my makeup, so I wanted to keep the sunglasses on the whole time, but they keep slipping.
No, your makeup looks so good. I don't know why you're being so mean to yourself.
Because it's not perfect.
We're literally just doing an episode of a podcast. It's okay. Something takes over Beth. So she's laying on the couch, and then Mike and like her siblings and Mike's friends come in, and Beth like sits up and she starts like laughing this weird laugh. Oh, I had a piece of hair that was tucked behind my ear, and now it's coming forward.
Which is not your hair. It's your column's hair. Did you have to buy a full wig to get
I bought like extension pieces. So if you need gray hair extensions, got them. So she sits up and she begins laughing and she's like, and Mike's like, what is up with you? Beth tells him she took 10 muscle relaxants. So terrified that this was true, Mike runs to Clara and is like, Beth is saying that she took 10 muscle relaxants, and they're terrified that this is possible. So they rush her to the hospital.
Yeah.
They had her stomach pumped, but there was no trace of drugs. Again, Clara knew something was off, not just because of Beth's behavior, but because her eyes, they're blue again.
What the fuck?
It's New Year's Eve, so Beth has to spend the night at the hospital. Clara, Mike, everyone goes home. Mike still has his like little New Year's Eve party with friends. And at midnight, instead of sharing a beautiful New Year's Eve kiss with her husband, she gets a phone call. And it's Beth in the hospital. And Beth is terrified. And she goes, Ma, what's happening? Why am I at the hospital? What happened? Like she's really scared. She has no recollection. She tells...
So she's losing huge gaps of time.
Huge gaps of time.
And it's also weird that there were no drugs too, but she thought there were, or like at least the entity speaking through her said that. Because I'm like, what's the point? Is it just to like instill fear in everyone else?
See, it's one of those things where it's like, I'm not sure. It almost feels like it's not a demonic possession, but like an entity of a spirit who used to live in the house, who is a teenager who's almost like acting out.
Yeah.
But so the last thing Beth could remember was taking the one muscle relaxant and going to lay on the couch with the heating pad. That's the last thing she could remember. That's hours and hours and hours of time gone. That night.
I do wonder if she'd ever taken, to just play the skeptic right now, or like the devil's advocate, if she'd ever taken a muscle relaxer before, if this was just like a weird adverse reaction.
But why would her eyes turn blue?
Yeah, you're right. Okay, back to paranormal.
So that night, multiple other people at the Hinsdale house were attacked. One kid was driving home at the end of the party when his car skid, same spot as Mike's car accident, and he ran back to the house with a gash on his head. He had to get 6 stitches at the hospital. Another friend, Craig, decided to sleep over and was attacked in Mike's room. Like literally the furniture was being moved around the room and he was being pinned underneath it. So Beth's thing was definitely paranormal.
When was this again?
This is December 31st, 1973. Yeah.
So it's like people didn't really, because at this point I'm like, set up cameras, man. Capture this.
It's 1973. We don't have Simply Safe.
I know.
So the next day, after hardly sleeping, the family went to go pick Beth up from the hospital. And the doctor confirms. He's like, there are no drugs in Beth's system. Like, she's okay. But then he like gets this weird look on his face. And he goes, are you sure this is the same girl I treated last night? And Clara's like, what do you mean? And he's like, this is going to sound really odd, but I remember the girl I treated last night had these really blue piercing eyes. But Beth has brown eyes. And in the morning when the doctor's with Beth, she has brown eyes. But he remembers.
What if she has a secret evil twin who lives in the walls of the house and comes out and possesses her from time to time?
I mean, that's basically what's happening.
Yeah.
It's just not her twin. So Clara and the doctor end up discussing some of the unusual things that were happening in the home. And the doctor's like, I mean, sell the house, right? And Clara's like, well, do you want to buy a house? Do you want to buy it? And the doctor's like, okay, I get it. Yeah. Because Clara and Phil had been trying to sell the house actively for the years that this has been happening.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. A couple nights later, Clara decides to sleep in Beth's room to see if she could hear the voices that Beth was hearing. And sure enough, immediately after like putting her head down on the pillow trying to sleep, she hears both the male and the woman standing outside at the window. And what they said sent chills down her spine. The male voice said, well, what will we do now? She's taking her to the doctor. The woman's voice responded, I don't know. It's easier when she's sick.
What's easier?
Possessing her.
But for what reason?
I have no idea.
Just this man and this woman?
I have no idea.
And if it's aliens, it makes me think like there's some vessel or test or something growing in her.
I have no idea. So for the beginning of 1974, the hauntings continued, but they were just the steady, constant, like the knocks, the voices, apparitions. The violence seemed to subside for now. They're still trying to sell the house. They're trying to do everything they can. But it does seem like the really like terrifying stuff calms again. which is this is what the house does, where like it goes through these phases where the knocks and stuff don't seem so bad after something terrible happened. You're like, we can live with this. So Alex T, the psychic, who had actually his presence kind of did help things settle down for a month. He sends a little like lock of his hair on a bracelet because he's like, I can't be there, but maybe like something from me can help ease things.
That's so, I mean, that's really nice of him, but I also feel like it's so daring to just like send a piece of you off, not knowing exactly how it might be used too.
But it worked. So Beth,
what is with this guy?
Beth wore it around her wrist, like she had like a bracelet. Yeah. And it truly, like after she put it on, she was pretty much fine. If you're ever watching us and you're like, wow, Corinne and Sabrina.
Beauty.
They exude beauty. Well, it's because we both use the Jones Road Miracle Balm palette, which I love the colors that are in my palette. I feel like I do it specifically on my eyes, but I like do a mix of all the colors.
Ooh, I like that. I've been using mine more as like a highlighter, bronzer, slapping it on my cheeks, get a little glow.
They have so many amazing products, but what we love about the Miracle Balm palette is that it replaces multiple steps in your routine. So it can be used as highlighter, bronzer, blush, lip tint, and it doesn't cake.
No, it doesn't. I feel like that's what makes it so good for aging skin too, because it doesn't get stuck in the creases. It holds well with like wrinkles and smile lines and stuff like that. And you just warm it up with your hands and put it on, which I like that. Good. I like simplified routines.
Plus, all Jones Road formulas are clean and high performing because clean is so much better and it's a no-brainer.
And they don't just have Miracle Balm. They have a full lineup of skin first staples.
Modern day makeup that's clean, strategic, and multifunctional for effortless routines. And for a limited time, our listeners get a free cool gloss on their first purchase when you use code TGOG at checkout. Just head to jonesroadbeauty.com and use our code TGOG at checkout. After you purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. So Clara still wants answers, obviously. She's like, what the heck is happening in this house? She tried to redecorate and bring color into the house. She's like, maybe I'll like make a sunny disposition inside and the spirits will go away. And then a couple of other psychics came by. There's this one couple called Paul and Peggy. They too knew nothing of the house prior to coming in, supposedly. And Peggy described seeing two spirits in the living room. A woman with a long skirt who seemed very angry and a man who was blind. Paul then asked, who's Anna? Because he could see someone standing under the pine tree calling Anna or Mama. Clara didn't know who that was, but she did find out much later that the daughter of the first owners of the house, her name was Anna. In April of 1974, Alex informed the Dandies that he had found a team to sponsor a full-on investigation of the house. And with their permission, he was going to come film a documentary. So on April 13th, Alex and this whole crew came to the house. And I think this is interesting. I also don't know how Alex didn't end up looking like me right now after this, because they take a lock of his hair and tape it to like basically every piece of equipment they set up in the house.
So, wow. I wonder how long this guy's hair was.
Right.
You know, like what if he had like a military cut?
I don't know.
Sprinkling
just like one piece of hair. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's the
like grabbing
time
tweezers.
to just like keep shaving your head. Use it as like a little salt and pepper shaker.
Your own little sage. So during filming, Alex wanted to spend some time in Mary's bedroom since it had been the site of so much activity. And like basically for the last 2 years now, it's been locked up. While he's there, he picks up on the energy of a spirit, and he felt like it was a young woman who had died in the room and actually spent a long time locked up in the room prior to dying. While communicating with this spirit, Alex got a burn mark on his back, which was the exact same shape and size of the burn mark that Beth, Mike, and like the curtains had all experienced back in like 1972. During one interview, a camera light exploded and nearly fell, hitting them. When they examined this camera, they realized they missed one piece of equipment when they went around putting Alex's hair on everything. This one camera. They went outside and Alex walked directly to the tree that Clara and the kids had seen someone hanging from. He said, this tree is causing a lot of negative energy on this house. He said that a woman about 21 years old had been hanged from that tree. And there are a lot of stories about like who this woman is, but I feel like nothing is proven. So
yeah,
we'll get into some of those theories in a little bit. But That night, they call Father Al to join the family. And this is also like part of the documentary, right? Like they're like, let's get everything that we could possibly do to make a good documentary. So Father Al joins the family, and he and Alex and the crew and the family performed an exorcism rite. So basically, the camera crew, the whole crew is around, and Father Al, Alex, and the family all kneel in the living room. In this circle, they hold hands. Alex draws all the negative energy in the house into himself, and he dispels them. As he's doing this, Father Al starts performing the exorcism. And as they knelt there, apparently every single one of the family members start having these terrible visions. Clara felt like she was going to faint. Even cameramen were uneasy. And the people who were in the circle seemed to have a different reality than the people who were watching. It was like the people in the circle were so consumed with like these like visions, this like feeling of faintness.
Yeah.
That they didn't realize that while this exorcism is going around, all the camera people start hearing screams and groans coming from the walls of the house.
This is so creepy that there's like so many different layers, and just the ability to like, whether it's people just not noticing or just projecting different realities onto everyone.
Yep.
That's so scary because it's like you don't know exactly
it's unpredictable.
What's actually happening. Like what's the reality, or is all of this happening at once? But it's like you can't protect each other.
You can't.
Because you don't know what each other's experiencing.
It's terrible. So after all of this, the camera crew packs up and Father Al and Alex say goodbye to the family. Obviously, they would stay in touch, but they did seem hopeful and positive, as they always have, that this exorcism had worked and the house will be quiet. And Clara does recall this to be mostly true. Because for the first time in a long time, there is peace in the house. But again, it only lasts so long. So this is April of 1974. By July of 1974, things start happening again. Laura woke up to a growling black furry ball under her bed with sharp teeth. And as she tried to jump off the bed, this thing tried to grab at her ankles. Terrifying. Clara started having sleep paralysis. And on one occasion while she was paralyzed, Mary had walked past the room and actually saw a young boy standing at the end of Clara's bed staring at her. At this point, Clara and Phil were in real financial trouble. And despite their efforts to sell the house, there were no interested buyers. They didn't try to hide the hauntings. In fact, they were hoping to sell the house to like some kind of research group, but had no luck. Ultimately, on September 29th, 1974, 4 years after moving to the home, keep in mind, they moved into this home in fine financial status. They have to file for bankruptcy.
This is so sad. And it's like, it's proof that sometimes, because when you were saying that they couldn't sell the house and that they were trying, I'm like, okay, we'll just sell it at a loss then. At least get something back.
They literally couldn't.
But no one wanted it. It was like the house made sure no one was going to get it.
Yeah. The kids moved out as Phil and Clara wrapped things up on the house, and their last week in the house was riddled with hauntings. There were sounds of babies crying, whistles, a literal gong, footsteps. Clara says it was like a finale at a fireworks show where the house was showing off every type of haunting it was capable of. They had lost everything they owned in just 4 years. And their family was pretty much torn apart. I mean, half the time, half the kids weren't even living in the house anymore. But despite this truth, on October 17th, 1974, as Phil and Clara got in their car and drove away from the house, Clara couldn't help but look back with such sadness. She loved this home. And when she's looking back at it, she describes this in her book. She looks back at the house and she only sees happiness. And she's like,
it's so bizarre.
She almost wants to go back and she's sad to leave it. But then she like,
how very haunting of Hill House. It's like you're drawn back to the
house. And we'll get to a point, but like basically she still like to this day is like, I would go back to that house.
It literally tried to kill your family.
She's like, I wouldn't go back with my children, but I would go back.
Haunting of Hill House.
But
ooh, I don't like that.
So she sees this like very pleasant vision of the house, but then like as she blinks,
well, it's just like so many other stories. It's like the house might be decrepit and evil, but the right person, the right family comes in on the open house day. It like smells like cookies,
right? It like puts on a show,
and the sun is glistening through the windows.
And then you move in, and it's like, oh shit!
Now you get to see what everyone else saw that day.
Yeah, but so she sees this vision of it, this like mirage of the house. But then as she like blinks, she does see like this darkness start to like seep in from the outsides. But she also felt this feeling of failure in that moment. Like it's almost like the house won, which was a weird thing for her to like, that's not like something you consciously think.
Yeah.
You know? On October 31st, 1974, another article was published in the Olean paper saying spirits drive Buffalo family out of home in Hinsdale. So since moving out of the Hinsdale house, not a single member of the Dandy family has had a paranormal experience. Not a single one. So everyone agrees it was the house that was haunted, not them. And the story of the Hinsdale house has been butchered or dramatized many times over the years, which is why Clara decided to write her book. She also felt like writing it would make her feel less crazy and like be like, this stuff really did happen.
Right. And when she starts to like question herself, she can look back and be like, no, that is how it did happen.
Phil and Clara moved to California in April of 1975, but they had grown apart and ultimately got divorced in 1980. Clara doesn't think that the house is what caused them to get divorced. She recalls that like kind of from the beginning, they were never like a good team. So she has like no ill will to him, but she felt like it wasn't the house's fault.
Interesting.
As for
I feel like she's giving a lot of excuses to this house.
I don't know.
Or for this house.
Well, and she keeps getting called back to it.
Yeah. She's like, oh, all of these problems, it wasn't. It was like the only entities whose fault it could have been was the house. And yet the house is the one that's not at fault for anything here.
I think what she's saying is that like, even if they hadn't moved into that house, her and Phil wouldn't have stayed together.
Yeah, maybe.
Because they were having trouble before. Like she thought moving to the countryside would help their relationship. But regardless, they got divorced in 1980. So she changed her name back to her maiden name, Clara Miller. And most of the kids moved on with their lives. They got married, had kids. But do you remember Laura's statement that she made when she was in the house? That she was going to die young.
She was young.
Seems like her odd and unsettling statements were true. In August of 1973, she told people she would die early. And on September 1st, 1992, just 18 days short of her 30th birthday, Laura died of an overdose of prescription medication. And Clara really does believe Laura was the most plagued by the house.
Are you making the connection right now?
Beth was possessed by Laura later. It is so Haunting of Hill House.
I'm glad you got there too, because I was like,
I'm curious if Laura has blue eyes.
Oh, that's a good question. Isn't that creepy? Holy shit.
That is wild.
Especially because I immediately was like, well, there was no evidence of the pills in her system. And yet here we are. And Laura, another member years later.
Oh,
that's how she died.
Well, it's interesting.
And it's like all the signs and warnings. It's like almost like whether it was like her haunting or like the future of what would happen to her coming and possessing other people in the house. Because it's like showing what's going to happen. It's playing out everyone's cards. And it's like you can't run from your fate because we already know how you're going to die.
Well, because Clara does think that Laura was the most impacted by the house. That the house truly, truly affected her. And that would make a lot of sense that like Laura's spirit would go back to the house then after everything. Yeah. But Clara has never stopped trying to figure out what was going on in that house. She has continued to research, try to find records. After moving out, she learned that the family who lived in the house 23 years before they did had actually asked a priest for help because the house was quote unquote troubled.
Wait, but this was
23 years before the Dandies lived in the house. Yes. So clearly these hauntings are not exclusive to the Dandies.
No. Well, I mean, how could they be? Think about all the tragedies that have apparently happened in the house and on the property. And
So after the Dandy family, there were multiple families who moved in and very quickly moved out of the house. The first to take residency after the Dandy family actually made fun of the Dandies and even like spread some really, really terrible rumors about the Dandy family. But they only lasted a year in this house before moving to Florida. Neighbors continued to see spirits wandering the streets. They would also call Clara up and be like, hey, I just saw this spirit. The second family to move into the home after the Dandies moved out mirrored the Dandy family almost exactly. And a neighbor let Clara know that she watched the family disintegrate basically in the same way Clara's family had.
So how can you see this, hear this, know this, and be like, it's not the house's fault. The house is lovely and nice. I will go back there just without my kids.
I don't know.
Why? So it can finish the job and kill you and then keep you there to haunt all the future families who are just going to go through the same exact cycle?
Clara's still alive, but if we're basing it off of how much she's drawn to this house, and if we're thinking Laura's spirit is back there, I think Clara's spirit is probably already there too. Maybe that's why she's drawn there.
Yeah, there's a piece of her there.
But so remember that documentary that they filmed? Mm-hmm. Clara and Alex, who was like the one who helped organize the documentary, have tried to figure out what happened to all of that footage what happened with the documentary, no one will ever get back to them. They literally, it's like it doesn't exist. And so Clara's like grateful that Alex exists because she's like, if it weren't for him, I would probably think I made it up.
Yeah, like that.
Like all of that was
she
fake.
like was seeing and playing out like a true
dreamt it. Yeah, delusion. But yeah, so no one knows what happened with that footage, where it is, what's going on with it.
That's so crazy.
And
like,
out
of all the people working on the team, no one has ever come forward and been like, oh yeah, it was so haunted, or we lost it all, or so and so said like, don't touch it ever again. Like that, no one has come forward.
They haven't found anyone. That's the weirdest part. But like, because with TV and like Hollywood, things die all the time.
Right.
But to just not have any record of it at all is weird.
Right. And like with all the individual players, like people move on. They don't feel exceptionally protective of every single project that they work on. Like you would think someone would come forward and say something.
You would think, but they did not. Okay, so now this brings us to who owns the house currently. Daniel Claes. Just gonna say Claes. And then in 2015, Daniel wrote the book, The Hinsdale House, An American Haunting. And he writes kind of all about his experience. He purchased the home in 2015. He wrote that he rescued it from the wrecking ball. Like literally it was going to be demolished. And I do like that finally Clara really wanted to sell it to someone who would do research.
Mm-hmm.
And now finally that has come true. Daniel is all about preserving the home, having people come do investigations. He himself does investigations.
Which is so spooky.
We could go do it.
But honestly, like I would rather the house be used like this than a family home where
living there,
the entities or presence or like just whatever energy exists there can spend so much time targeting certain individuals. I feel like it almost keeps a house from being able to level up to where it was before. Totally. If it's constantly being introduced to new people and new people and new people, and it's like can't catch its breath.
You could be stirring up something else.
It's already really bad no matter what.
Yeah.
So
but it's not gonna stick to someone. This is very much now a house that is for serious or also curious researchers, paranormal enthusiasts, etc. And Daniel himself has written that this is not in all caps, a place people have felt comfortable calling home and hasn't been in quite a long time. He has spent many years trying to preserve the home. He's invited investigators. He's tried to document the history of it. And in the last 10 years, a lot has happened. A lot of evidence has been collected. And it's impossible to know the validity of a lot of the information due to the lack of records. But it does seem to be agreed upon that there has been a lot of bloodshed and a lot of violence on this land. Which brings us to some theories. Why, oh why in the world is the Hinsdale house so haunted? So while the Dandy family lived there in the home, multiple psychics shared multiple different theories. There's mass murders, hangings, spirits who refuse to move on. But it seems like the violence does predate the home's construction. So this is another part of the story that really, really reminds me of the Conjuring house. Before European settlement and colonists, this region was part of Seneca territory, and the land was very precious to them. It was a place they called home.
Mm-hmm.
But then settlers came, they pushed the Seneca people out, and while it's not officially documented, we do know that there was a lot of violence towards the native peoples. This is like now something that's been, while not proven by record, which a lot of stuff in this time is not proven by record, but this is something that Daniel and researchers have claimed is true, that some 800 Native Americans were massacred on the land that Hinsdale House was built on.
Wow.
Again, not proven by record, but I think it's safe to say that yes, there was bloodshed on this land in the surrounding area.
I feel like we've seen before with other stories and haunted places that like when something's so horrific, when so much blood is shed, that it does attract something darker and something more evil, and it like feeds off of just like the evil that happened there.
Yes. While the massacre itself can't be confirmed, the land itself was and is confirmed to have been inhabited by the Seneca people who were then pushed out. So then another theory, or this kind of can like add on top of it. So if like that is the context, that's the history, there's a lot of negativity here, a lot of energy that's festered. And on top of that, there's lore that's been built or assumed about the land because many of the early settlers died of illness. There were many farming accidents. There was a series of misfortune and at least one death by suicide that took place inside the home. So people have proposed the theory that this land is cursed.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of misfortune will befall people. Then there's a belief that the energy and geology is contributing to this haunting because it is in Appalachia,
Classic.
for one. And two, it is built upon highly energetic stone, both quartz and limestone. Plus, there are many underground streams and springs. All of these would be conductors to the energy, amplifying the hauntings. And there's belief that ley lines intersect upon this land.
This does remind me so much of the Conjuring House.
It's like
the perfect storm.
Similar story, different font.
Right. And even just like the survivors writing books.
Right, exactly, yeah. Which the ley lines also contribute maybe like to the aliens, the UFOs, the little men they saw coming out of the door. Whatever it is, we are certain that this house, this land, is undeniably haunted. But now when it comes to the ghosts, the actual number haunting the land is pretty unknown, but there are a lot. So there's an unknown man who supposedly died by suicide, though this suicide has not been proven by documents or death records, but many people believe that someone who lived in the farmhouse did die by suicide. Many investigators have documented paranormal evidence that backs this story up, feeling tightness in their throat or chest while in a specific room in the house. There's a 16-year-old boy who wanders around the land, which maybe is connected to that state trooper's brother.
Right.
Who died nearby.
Well, I mean, that one definitely sounds like it because the state trooper himself was like, that sounds just like my brother.
Right. But then I think I read like one record where people were like, actually, that death happened in the town over. So I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Once in 1973, there were 4 people driving on a road about a mile from the house in the middle of the night when all of a sudden a boy runs in front of the car and it's too late. They can't stop and they hit the boy and they literally think it's a human being and they hear the like impact. But they get out. The car is not impacted at all. The boy, gone.
Wait, could that be the face that was outside of the car?
It could have been,
one time. Did he hit someone? And that was like the face of...
I don't know.
Or maybe not someone alive, but
right,
like again,
ghost.
Just like that seems like the repeated incident.
Right, running in front of the car, that's causing an accident and like terrifying
everyone's
people.
skidding in the same spot too.
That's true. The driver of the car called the police because they literally thought they hit someone, but no one could find anyone. There's the unknown couple outside of Beth's window. Clara read somewhere that many, many years ago, there was this preacher and his sister who used to travel in the area. And apparently this preacher hated women. He would like force people to let him and his sister stay at their houses while they were traveling. So she's like, maybe this is the man and woman. I don't know. It's like a stretch. I think she's trying to find anything.
Right. Yeah.
There are the chanting spirits. Multiple people have heard spirits singing or chanting in the woods. There are numerous shadow people. There's the strawberry blonde girl seen often inside Mary or Beth's bedroom. The furry creature, which I still have no idea what that is. There's a woman in white. There are alien-like entities. And then there's the hanging tree. And the hanging tree has a lot of legend and a lot of... It's tough because like, yes, Clara and her family saw this like person hanging from the tree. But I think after that story, a lot of people have run with it and created a lot of context or created a lot of stories that might not necessarily be true. But for generations, the hanging tree has stood as one of the darkest landmarks on the Hinsdale property. Stories have told of hangings of condemned criminals, even innocent passerbys. There's a story of like a young woman named Elizabeth who was murdered by this like couple who thought she was like basically an uncouth woman and they killed her. Some people have like added to the story that she was actually pregnant and was on the way home to tell her husband that she was pregnant. But again, like none of this can be proven.
Right.
It's just like stories created after.
And too, like the
hauntings.
fact that all the stories are so different too for someone's backstory.
Yeah.
It's hard to distinguish between what might have had some fact and what's just like complete lore and conjecture.
So since taking ownership, Daniel has hosted countless paranormal investigations, which so many of them you can watch online. And Greg and Dana Newkirk themselves investigated the house, which is how I first heard of Hinsdale House, because in episode 288, where we did like haunted objects from their collection, I covered the Well of Intentions, which is a scrying mirror that they created specifically to bring to the Hinsdale House. And I'm just going to give a tiny little recap. And then to end this episode, I'm going to share with you what Greg and Dana think is haunting the house.
Ooh, I cannot wait. This is like actually hearing from the experts.
Right. Literally.
Someone who's been inside. Someone who
been
understands the paranormal more than most.
They lean towards the idea that the land is a hotspot / portal. When they brought the Well of Intentions, the scrying mirror, into the home, The room immediately got colder. The feeling of being watched got more intense. And people investigating started seeing dark figures moving in the mirror. They saw their reflections twisting and distorting and dancing like smoke. And occasionally a man with a beard would rise to the surface. Like countless members would see the same man with a beard. They heard multiple knocks and footsteps when rooms were empty. They captured EVPs. It felt like there were multiple spirits trying to push through all at once. They were in a very crowded room.
Mm-hmm.
One investigator knocked on this well of intentions mirror and it knocked back. And
mirrors
then
are so scary.
This is the part that like freaked me out and I remember it freaking me out when we talked about it in 288. But the mirror even began to show a path into the forest that eerily resembled the woods outside.
Fuck no. I don't remember that part. I blocked that out.
Okay, so now I asked Greg and Dana, I said, hey, I'm covering the Hinsdale House. I know you've been. What's up? I said just like that, and I didn't. Greg responded saying, oh man, Hinsdale. My thoughts about that place are probably going to stray from the norm, but here goes. We didn't really experience much that we felt like were ghosts, but something else, which is probably best explained as an egregore or a thought form, especially considering how it felt like whatever is going on in that place repeats whatever anyone else says, feels, or even thinks about it. We think that the Hinsdale House, while it may have been previously haunted by a run-of-the-mill ghost type thing a long time ago, has effectively been overwritten with all kinds of wild stories that are reflective of people's anticipations and projections. So now it's basically haunted by its own folklore and stays alive by shaping itself according to the preconceptions of the people investigating it. It'll basically give people what they want, expect to experience, as long as that means it gets to keep bringing people to it. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing as long as people know what they're getting into before they visit.
Damn.
Which you can visit.
I mean, that makes sense because if it did have to pivot from a family home to just figuring out a way to keep itself alive.
Yeah.
With the constant flow of new people.
It adapts.
It's intelligent.
You can stay overnight for $350 for 6 people and you can do tours of it. And there are countless people who have experienced things. And I really do agree with what Greg and Dana said is like I do believe that when the Dandy family lived there, they were dealing with some very real things. And I think there were probably problems in the family that were echoing in the hauntings.
Mm-hmm.
And I like even that theory of Laura possessing Beth, like I really believe that's possible.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think after they left, it became so talked about. There were rumors spread in articles and newspaper publications that I think since then it's kind of become, I'm looking at you and I want to say funhouse. Like it kind of has. It's like a reflection of whoever's in the house.
Which is interesting that Greg and Dana had a desire to create a mirror before going into a house that reflects whatever
that is
is brought into it.
Yeah.
Either they're super in tune or the house is just
super
has infested everyone.
Yeah.
It knows everything that's going to happen and everything that already has.
But I also feel like we're never going to learn the truth about the history of the house because 1, there's no records, and 2, because the house keeps creating things based on what it thinks you want to experience.
Right.
So if someone goes and does an investigation under the hanging tree with the story of the young pregnant woman who was
they're going to get answers about that.
According to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a weird little anomaly of a place.
Isn't it?
I feel like my language now is shifting because I'm like, oh, now it's just, I'm talking about it like in present day where it's like you get to go, you get to investigate, have interesting experiences, and then you get to leave. 50 years ago, they didn't get to leave.
No, and they lived there for 4 full years until they literally had to file for bankruptcy.
And then other families just had to endure the exact same thing.
Yeah. But we don't have those stories.
I guess it's like the same, but we know that it happened. Or at least neighbors have said that.
Yeah.
Townsfolk have said that it did.
Yeah.
But I also think like if a house doesn't have residency for very long, like there's something going on.
Oh, for sure.
And not everyone's like us where they're just going to be like, oh my God, let me go grab a microphone. One thing just happened to me and I have to go talk about it.
Let me podcast about it.
Like most people are going to be afraid to share exactly what happened, especially if it's so scary that it's following them like off the property and in their cars. It's like the more
car
you talk
thing
about
is the scariest to me because like it's one thing if you're experiencing hauntings and like there's like knocks and things. But the car, like at first, it almost felt like there was an entity trying to keep them from going to the house.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were having car trouble as they were driving to the house.
Yeah.
And then there was like the bee infestation. But then it slowly turned into if you leave the house, I'm going to hurt you.
Mm-hmm. It's like intention and its reason doesn't always make sense. It just kind of boils down to it having control over what happens to you.
See, we're never going to know the answer.
Yeah.
But we know it's spooky.
And
we know it's
so
haunted.
spooky.
Yeah, that's the Hinsdale house.
I'm glad you covered this because I feel like it's one of those houses that comes up a lot in conversation where it's just like, oh, I've been here or that's on my wish list. But I like didn't really know the full details. I just knew it was a super haunted location.
I don't know if I have that much interest in going here.
I don't think I do. Because it's also, I feel like when you and I go into an investigation, we like to try to figure something out.
Yeah, like I feel like we'd get tricked.
Yeah, I have no interest in just like fucking around.
Right. Like I want to go somewhere and have a real conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I want depth when it comes to the paranormal.
Right? Yeah, this is...
I want authenticity and depth.
And the Hinsdale house is not, we're not looking for some fuckboy ghost house. Like,
what story do you have?
Okay. This is from Bree.
Hey.
Like you, Breenie. Actually, I told you this the other day. I voice messaged you because I was like, I can't believe I forgot to tell you.
Oh my God, yeah.
The weirdest thing happened. We were in Salem to go on a ghost tour with some of our Patreon members. I was standing in line to get dinner before, and like all the places are booked. So I'm waiting in line to just like see if we can put our name in. Mm-hmm. And behind me, these two guys are like talking about their wives and how their wives don't have their phones. They have their phones, and how are they going to be able to find them? Are they going to get here in time? We're kind of close to the front of the line. And the guy's like, yeah, I have Corinne's phone. And the guy goes, yeah, I know. And I have Sabrina's. So like, how are they going to find? And I turn around because I'm like, they're fucking with me. I was like, I must know them. I turn around. They don't even look at me. Like there's no
and you don't
recognition.
Recognize them.
I don't recognize them. And then their wives come up. And I was like, that is so crazy. The guy that did say Sabrina, he kind of like choked the word down. So it could have been Rena and not Sabrina. But I think it was Sabrina. And either way, I was like, that is so crazy.
What did our alternate egos look like?
Mid to late 30s. Just like two ladies having a great time.
Could have been us.
Could have been us.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
I love that there's another duo out there.
I'm fairly certain.
Corinne and Sabrina.
Or it's Corinne and Rena, but I think I'm
either way
fairly certain it was
still
Sabrina.
Close. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Damn.
Hello, I'm Brie. I recently, in the past few months, have been listening to your podcast and watching your YouTube channel. I love your podcast, and as a spooky girl myself, I have several ghost stories, both good and scary, so I thought I would send you one of my scariest. This is about sleep paralysis.
Oh, no.
So the story takes place when I was in college. I started with my friend and I wanting to visit a local haunted house in Hinsdale, New York. It's a bit of an infamous haunted house. You can search it. The Hinsdale House. You'll find it.
You can search it.
The house is horrifying. You actually have to sign a waiver if you visit saying that if you have effects from it, that you won't sue them. Crazy stuff. My friends and I decided one day that we should go, and that afternoon, I went into my dorm to take a nap. The way my dorm was laid out, the desk was kind of blocking my view of the door from the bed. And while I was sleeping, I woke up to see my roommate coming into our room. I couldn't see her face, but I said, hey, and strangely, she didn't answer me. I figured maybe they just lost their sports game, maybe she was upset, I don't know. So I watched her silently leave the room, and then I closed my eyes and I fell back asleep. And when I did, I felt the bed dip by my feet. I was confused at first, but suddenly became frozen in fear as I felt something start to crawl beside me into bed. As I was laying on my side.
What?
Whatever it was, wrapped an arm around me, said nothing, but I could feel it breathing on the back of my ear. Ugh. I began to try to yell, but no noise came out of my mouth. I started to recite the Lord's Prayer inside my head because it was the only thing I could think of to do. And when I finally got the courage to open my eyes, a little girl who I have never seen before was right in front of my face and whispered to me, "Don't go." I suddenly gasped awake. I'm sitting. I'm feeling all of the terror that I was just feeling, but it's now gone. However, what makes the story worse is that my friend found a video of the haunted house and messaged it to all of us. We all meet in my dorm to go watch the video. And in the video, one of the paranormal investigators said that he had a horrible nightmare the night before of a little girl telling him not to go.
Full chills.
To this day, I cannot sleep on my side because I can't shake the feeling that someone's going to crawl into bed beside me.
Well, did you go?
See you on the other side. Bree, she doesn't say.
Bree, I hope you didn't.
Oh, but it does kind of remind me of like the beginning of the story where it's like the house tries to keep you from going at first, where it's like, is that just a ploy to get you to go, to want to go even more or what? Or is there a little girl that's trying to warn people?
I think she's trying to warn people.
Don't go.
The smell of coffee smells so good right now. Like I literally, like, as terrifying as that story is,
We had a couch delivered in the middle of recording this, and then I made a pot of coffee. I should have videoed. I should have vlogged it. Art
making coffee.
A day in the life of Art.
How to make the best pot of coffee with Art the Clown.
Actually,
should we go get it?
Yeah, right now.
Right now. Okay. We love you guys, but we got to get the coffee before a child comes back and is terrified of
Noah's
us.
on his way back from gymnastics. We got to go.
We got to go. Email us any of your encounters, twogirlsoneghostpodcast@gmail.com, and let us know what was your favorite costume that we did this spooky season.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm learning that I get very overstimulated by costumes.
Yeah, me too.
I'm very, very overstimulated.
My tongue is numb. I had 3 panic attacks just putting this on my face, and I'm not even nearly as intense as you, so I can't imagine what you're experiencing. Shout out to Jamie. Yes. Shout out to Emma. Shout out to you guys.
And we're going to go get our coffee.
Peace, love, blessings, and we will
see you on the other side. My precious.
Very spooky.